All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Theorycraft Thursday. This, of course, is everyone's favorite Batman and Robin podcast. Today, as always, we're going to be talking about our favorite film of all time, 1997's Batman and Robin, the titular name of the film, as all names of films are.
If you haven't seen it, we don't want to leave you out in the cold. That wouldn't be very nice of us. So, pause it and watch the movie. And after you chill out a little bit, turn this podcast back on.
Yep. So, of course, as we do every week, we're going to be talking about a specific character. And this week, we're going to be talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. Probably, I would say, the best Mr. Freeze of any Mr. Freeze in any medium. Slightly overshadowed by George Clooney's wonderful Batman and the wonderful nipples on his Batman outfit.
Right. Well, how else would you know that it was a virile man with supple bat nipples?
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't, right? So
you have no fucking idea.
Yeah. I mean, I was just dumbfounded. I was like, dude, can he lactate or not? I just don't know. But thankfully, now we do know.
How does Robin get his nutrients if Batman has no nipples?
Yeah, really. So, anyway, before we get
strong.
Before we get into the bulk of our podcast, we're going to take our quick little segment where we talk about Dota 2 for just a little bit. So on that note, let's start chatting about Dota 2. How has Dota 2 been treating you, Proud, in this past week?
I'm 5100. I've been playing more games. I gained 1 MMR. I played like 6. I won 3, lost 3. One of them was like this awful game with the techies who fed intentionally. So in my mind, it was more like 3 and 2, but 1 was stolen from me. And I've been doing good. Our team practices have been, we've been trying some people out. The games haven't been going that great, but we're getting a better sense of like what the meta looks like right now. Trying to figure out what heroes work and what heroes don't work. And I've been having a lot of fun in the stuff that I've been playing.
Yeah, I just hit my mic.
Monkey King sucks. I hate him.
Huh?
Monkey King, I hate him. You know what? I was kind of an apologist for him, but at this point, I'm just like, you know what? Enough's enough. Let's just get this thing out of here.
Yeah, he's a bit much. Luckily, I've been actually seeing less of him in the past few days than I was like initially. He's still stupid, like he's still absurd, but it's at least not every game. Like there are actually like maybe 50% of my games he is not banned, but still not picked. So that's nice. Let's see. I'm trying to think how my week in Dota's been. I won a rank game today, so now I'm at 4990 after my fall from grace, the worst 50 points I've ever lost. So pretty soon I will not have to hear about me being 4K anymore, hopefully, provided I actually win my next game.
Right.
But other than that, my games have been okay. Honestly, like nothing too exciting. Just playing Dota. Like I'm just looking at my recent games. And it's like a lot of mids that I don't normally play, or at least I didn't play last patch, that I'm reacclimating myself to, like Shadow Fiend, and I even played a Zeus game the other day. That was a lot of fun. I think you were in that game.
Maybe. I don't think so.
And some stuff like that. So just a mix. I played a few Storm Spirit games, and by a few I mean 1. That was good. Trying out the new Ember Spirit build. We're not playing him today, but I thought about it. The magic damage Ember Spirit build is wild good. It's a force to be reckoned with.
I wasn't that into it, and like as soon as I saw that you get Radiance on it, I'm like, yo, because I love Radiance on any non-illusion based hero.
Yeah,
because I think it's good. I just love Radiance as an item.
Yeah, I like Radiance. It's
just
fun.
A fun item to have, dude. It's just fun.
I want to go back and play more Ember Spirit now because of the couple games I did play of Veil Ember Spirit. One of them was like we just won, like we just stomped super hard, so I didn't really get to do any of like the fun stuff with Octarine or whatever. Even though I got the Octarine, I got it like while we were pushing base.
Yeah.
But I am interested to try like this. The full spellcaster Ember Spirit build, basically, because initially, like right after the patch, people were building Veil, of course, like once it was figured out by whatever pro, and then they were still going back into like Battle Fury, etc., etc. But now it's just become like the firm meta right now is that you just get Veil, but then you commit into going like Blink and Radiance and Octarine and Maelstrom and Dagon and stuff like that.
Dagon.
Yeah, Dagon. Dagon, as the kids call
it's actually,
it.
It's actually Dagon, like the being from Lovecraft. Just so you know, Dagon.
I'll take your word for it, but I'm still going to say Dagon.
Oh
anyway,
my
but yeah, so I really have to hard commit to it and just play a bunch of games of it because I think it's fun and it looks like a lot of fun and it, it's fresh and new.
It's
so
a fighty,
that's something.
It's a fighty mid. I can pick it for you. We can fight.
Yeah.
Fight.
That's about it, really. And Shadow Fiend. I think we talked about that last week.
I played some Shadow Fiend recently too, and it felt good. Hero's good, man. I like that hero.
Yes, he is. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, wait. Do you like Ags on him? Because it's so tragic to me that because as soon as I looked at his talents and he has, what is that one talent he has? Like the
plus damage per soul.
Yeah. So as soon as I got that, I was like, yo, that synergizes with Ags so well. But there are so many items on him to get that aren't Ags that are really good, and I'm just like, I just want to go Ags for you, baby, but it's not that good.
Well, the thing is, he does have a spell amp talent, although it's only 4% or something.
It's six whole. Yeah. That's 50% more than you said.
Yeah. Well, that's also almost a third of Ember Spirits.
Yeah.
But the thing about Shadow Fiend is a lot of his talents don't synergize with the kind of old build where people do Yule's, Aghanim's, E-Blade.
Yeah.
So it's kind of on one level you want to do that because his Ags is good and it's even better now. On another level you don't want to do that because he just scales so well now thanks to his level 25 talent and all that. Because if you pick
what do you get at 25? I've been kind of torn.
I get the attack range. That way I can replace my either you can attack from super far away or you can replace your Hurricane Pike if the game goes super late. And
that makes sense. The lure cooldown looks so much fun, looks like so much fun, but it's probably just not as good as the attack range because you basically attack for raised damage at some point.
Yeah, exactly. And as we all know, magic damage does not scale. I just feel like bringing that up any show I'm on you with.
I mean, you can do whatever. I'm sure playing OD in 5-man Dota is going to work out well for you too.
Oh man, that if I get to play OD and I don't have a Nyx against me, that'd be great. Anyway,
that was the problem.
I mean, the problem was a lot of other things.
Oh sure.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
For context, Proud thinks that OD is a terrible hero in 5-man games.
And in high level Dota, I do not think OD operates at the pace that you need for the current meta, and I feel pretty strongly about that.
Yeah.
But if he does, you need a very specific team to play around him. Otherwise, yep. That's my opinion.
No, I mean it's just everybody that's not Proud agrees with.
He's not getting play in high tier Dota. Pros aren't picking him.
Pros are picking him. Trust me, I said that, and now it's true. Okay.
I literally checked Dota buff for actual pro teams picking heroes. They don't pick OD.
Well, they should. They're wrong. Okay. Anyway, I think that's it for me for my week in Dota. Really.
Okay.
I feel like we could just move on from this segment.
Troll Warlord is great. I love Troll Warlord.
I really don't like him. I'll be honest. I think I talked about this on the Tuesday show. But you don't think he's good? You keep picking Troll, and I keep just thinking man, I wish we had Luna.
Well, okay, he's worse than Luna. Luna's the best hero in the game.
That's a bad example.
Except Luna can't win her lane on her own. She needs a little bit of help, but Troll actually can do well in his lane.
Well, yeah. Either way, I keep seeing Troll, and he just feels squishy, even though he's not, right? I see a Troll siege uphill, and it's okay, well, either you pop your BKB or you just get massacred. I've just felt he's lackluster compared to things like Juggernaut and other more typical carries. I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he's great right now.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite as good as Juggernaut, but I mean, he fills a different kind of role. He's very specifically good against all those heroes that run at you this patch. Troll is a hero that if he's one of the few carries that can fight early and also can eventually get ahead enough that he can just shut down anyone who wants to fucking like run at you. Like a life stealer, like if they have a life stealer against you, you can't pick Ursa, like Troll Warlord would shit on him. If they have like an Ursa and you have the ability to kind of go late, like Troll Warlord can outman fight the Ursa and like that kind of thing. And then also like it's also when your mid picks like a Shadow Fiend or an OD, you know, Troll's really solid.
Yeah, I think there's actually a thing that I see a lot in Dota historically and now is that Troll, I feel like you pick him thinking that he's going to do something really well, like man fight the enemy carry because he is blind, and then that just doesn't happen. It's kind of like when you pick, it's kind of like when you're like, okay, the enemy team has a life stealer or like something that we need to have BKB piercing disables. So like, all right, let's pick Bane. And then it just doesn't work out because it's like, okay, well, theoretically
or something, yeah.
So that's what I feel like with Troll, right? It's like you think he's going to be doing this one thing really well, and that's his niche, but then you actually get in the game, it's like, oh wow, actually, like he's squishy, and
yeah, you need like a lot of farm for Troll to be Troll. That's definitely not untrue.
Yeah, so I think Troll's interesting. I like the hero. I haven't touched it this patch yet because I don't think I've played safe lane carry actually this entire patch. And so it leaves a little to be desired, I'll say. I think that's my official stance as of 7.01 January, whatever this is, 4th, 5th, 4th, whatever. So that's about it for me. Should we hop into our segment? Do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm good. Oh, okay, Wraith King sucks. Don't play Wraith King.
Doesn't he have like a really high win rate?
Yeah, he's a great win rate, but he sucks.
Yeah. I was surprised. People are talking about how Omni Knight is now not in the top 4 win rate overall, or top 5 or whatever it is.
Like top 6. Yeah, they said that number because he was at the next one.
Yeah, it's well, some of the big ones have been Abaddon. That was my thing. I think Abaddon has like a 57% win rate. Something like that right now.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so like when people talk about these win rates, the reason that Omni was so broken wasn't because he had a 60% win rate like overall. It was at like 5k plus games, he still had that win rate. Like look at any other super high win rate hero, and like they drop off pretty considerably as soon as you get to people who aren't like, he gained health. How does that work?
Yeah, well, but still, I mean, it is a good marker of a hero being OP. It's just like, oh, hey, they have a 60% win rate. Like a hero
Abaddon and Necro had really high win rates for a long time, and I would not have called them OP.
Well, it's because healing is OP. As
healing
I've said,
it's just too good.
Healing is super good. Like,
yep. I don't disagree, but I'm just saying that like Necro and Abaddon, yes, healing is good in a vacuum, but those heroes were not strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think like healing as a concept is like it makes any hero that is already like pretty tanky like infinitely better, and I think that's one of the big things that people always underestimate and they don't account for is healing. It's like it's very surprising. So any of those healing heroes do tend to have higher win rates, especially the tanky ones, right? Because like a Dazzle, it's like okay, well he's healing, but whatever, I'll just burst him. Whereas in Abaddon, it's like okay, well he's gonna heal people and he's gonna stop damage. Have you seen much of the new Necrophos? I think this will be my last comment before the segment.
I've slain many of them.
Oh, really? See, I've been seeing it do incredibly well.
No, it's super good. I'm just really strong at Dota 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've lost to any either, to be honest. But I've seen it do really well and be like really.
Skrunk played one game of it, and he was like, "I'm a Necrophos now." Yeah, forever.
Yep. But I mean,
it's good, dude. It's like really strong.
I haven't played around with it, but it really does seem like it has a lot of potential to just be an absurd powerhouse, especially for people that specialize, because there's like a lot of like weird little things that go on with new Necrophos that I think people really need to get used to and acclimate themselves to.
I agree.
That also may be part of the reason why he's doing so well right now, is people are not used to how to deal with his new W or whatever letter it is, the Sadist rework.
Sadist is on Death Pulse now, I think, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, whatever it is, the one that makes him ethereal and double all his healing.
Okay, people are just not used to that. That's Ghost Shroud. Nothing to do with Sadist. Okay. I mean, it replaced Sadist, but...
Yeah, okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking, because I haven't played this hero.
Yes, Sadist is the spell that gives him regen when he kills shit, and that's just like baked into Death Pulse now.
Gotcha. But anyway, so that skill has been jarring, I'll say, to play against, because it's one of those things where it's like, I understand the base concept, but you just don't like... Everybody that plays Dota, right? You internalize all these timings where it's like, okay, like you can kind of ballpark, like, okay, this is going to be over at this point, or his cooldown's going to be up for this, yada, yada, yada. So whenever you have reworks or new heroes like Monkey King or reworks like Necrophos, it does take time to like get acclimated to being like, okay, well, he just went ethereal form. That's going to last for 6 seconds, and then we can burst him, or then we can do X, Y, or Z. Thing like Monkey King, like one of the big things people were always talking about is like they just had not internalized his cooldowns for anything, but especially his Q. And it feels like it's up all the time, when in actuality, it's like, okay, well, it's up every 25 seconds. So that's definitely a factor to it, I think.
No, I'd agree.
Anyway,
like the 16-second ability to like decrepify yourself, pretty strong, and like the fact that he heals more when it's going on, and it slows you. Like it's just a lot of weird things that you wouldn't know, like a bunch of strange little interactions. Like it's a decrep, and then also its duration changes as you level it up, and then he heals more, and then the slow is weird, and its cooldown changes as you level it up. Like it's definitely a spell you have to kind of get used to.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's hop into our segment. Our segment this week is going to be all about Helm of the Dawn.
Okay. We got to talk about Necrophos. His name is Rotund Jerry, but it's just like rotund, like he's fat, and
he's fat. Yeah.
He's Jerry. It's like Gere, like he's Jerry. He's just Fat Jerry. Like that's who Necrophos is. We can move on now.
Fat Jerry the Necrophos.
Rotund Jerry. Yeah, Fat Jerry. Like that's who Necro is. That's his name. Yep. Fat Jerry.
He sounds like the mascot for Haagen-Dazs or something.
What?
I mean, you know, I just picture like a guy named Fat Jerry sitting with
that's like a luxury brand. It's like all German, and it'd be someone named like Sven, and he would say like "Ja."
Okay. Anyway, I just pictured somebody with like a tub of ice cream in all green that smells kind of gross, and that's Necrophos, like Fat Jerry.
That would be like Briars.
Yeah. Briars actually isn't even ice cream enough. God, now I can't remember what it is, but it's one of those products that is not enough of the product to be called a product. Like, if you look at the labels for Briar's ice cream, it is labeled as like a milk product or something of that nature. Or like it's not called ice cream, it's called like ice, something obfuscating. Yeah. And it's one of those things, kind of like how, what was it, DiGiorno couldn't call their chicken wings, so they had to like re-letter it to like CHYKEN. It's one of those kind of cases. So Briar's ice cream,
dystopian food business.
Yeah. So Briar's ice cream, not the best ice cream you could buy. So, pro tip.
What is if you ask Rotund Jerry?
Yeah, dude, he's not a very discriminatory eater. I think we can make
Jerry, he'll eat anything, man. He's fucking decrepit.
Yeah. Anyway, so our segment this week, we're going to talk about Helm of the Dominator, which is, would you say, the standout item of the patch so far?
The best item in Dota 2.
Okay, that's a bold claim. I don't disagree with it necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to actually say.
So I know we've all obviously been playing Dota 2 and 7.0, but just to go over what it gives now that makes it so much better than what it used to give, and what makes it so useful. It now gives 6 to all stats, 10 attack speed, and a 10 attack speed aura around you, so it's 20 attack speed for you and 10 for everybody around you. And then, of course, you can dominate creeps, and it makes the creep move, at 425, right?
Yeah, 425.
Yeah, and that's really good because that means you get creep stuff. So you get whatever auras, whatever castables.
Hella fast.
Yeah. So you've been buying this item a lot. Honestly, I don't think I've bought this entire patch since I just haven't been playing HOD heroes. So you could talk about it.
Every hero is an HOD hero, dude.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Especially Darkseer.
What is the... Okay, wait. Drum of Endurance... Does Drum of Endurance not have, like, an aura? No, yeah. It has a Swiftness aura for... Does it have an aura attack speed? I thought this had an aura attack speed on it.
I think it just moves speed and has attack speed when you use the activatable.
Oh, okay. Yeah, much should changed a while ago, I guess. Anyway, I haven't really built Drum in a long time, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, so normally I would try to compare this to Drum, but at some point this item had an aura attack speed, but that's kind of gone now. Anyway, Helm of the Dominator. So kind of like the landscape of what you use Dominator for has completely changed, and it's not honestly very it's not really honest to compare the old Helm of the Dominator with this Helm of the Dominator. It just so happens that a lot of heroes that liked pre 7.0 Helm ended up with a opening in their item slots for a new item, and the new Helm of the Dom is so fucking good that it just fits in everywhere. So you don't since the creeps don't respawn as much, you're not going to just get it on a Luna or a Sven or Gyrocopter and just stack creeps nonstop. You're more likely to get a creep that's going to help you farm a bunch. Like one hero that I get it on a lot now. Well, okay, so the main heroes that I get it on now, sometimes I get it on Luna. Sven, I get it. Troll Warlord, I get it. Juggernaut. And pretty much almost any other carry that I've ended up playing, I've ended up getting it. Not Phantom Assassin, not Anti-Mage. Maybe we'll just stick with those heroes for now. I feel like it would actually be pretty good on Faceless Void. I got it on Monkey King safe lane because you can get anything with that hero and he's still gonna wreck. It's probably good on like Bloodseeker or whatever. The item's just super fucking good. But it's also...
Can I cut you off 1 second?
Yeah, dude.
So Monkey King, you cannot just buy whatever items you want, because I had maybe the most infuriating loss the other day.
Yeah,
because because belligerent 2 stacks. Yeah, God. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I felt like I need to vent about that horrible game.
Thank you for that. Monkey King actually wants some very specific items. Don't just buy whatever.
Okay. Reconvene your.
But that's okay. So if you look at every hero, if you've listened to Proudland, you know that to have a good build, most heroes need some kind of like intro base of stats to start from. Most carriers are pretty lacking in their like starting bit of stats. That's why most heroes, they start with like an Aquila or a wand, or back in the day we do like a drum. Echo Saber is pretty decent at filling out stats, but normally it's something like an Aquila, or most like Agi heroes, they need Aquila, maybe like a wand or whatever. You just need that solid base of stats going for you. And Helm of the Dominator, 6 to all attributes, basically fills you out, outside of like the Agi, it fills you out twice as much as an Aquila does. Obviously it's twice as expensive, so it's not like they're completely comparable. But the big thing to pay attention to here is that it gives you an aura health regen of 8. And that's a big ass fucking number. Like 8 health regen, that's more than a Vanguard. A lot of health. That's a bunch of health. It's more than Vanguard. Vanguard's a lot of health. It's exactly as much as a Vanguard. But in an aura, so like for your whole fucking team. And Vanguard is expensive as shit. So I've been mostly getting it as like a replacement for any regen item, and also if a hero isn't too dependent on the Aquila, it also takes care of that issue, so it can end up saving you a bunch of money, and also just making you like tanky as fuck with 6 to all stats, and a nice base of attack speed. And it's all like the health regen is in the sweet aura, and it does give some attack speed in an aura. Creeps scale really well with attack speed. Almost all creeps, if not all, have a 1.0 base attack time, or somewhere along there. Some like 1.7, something like that. I know the catapult I think has 2, maybe it's 1.5. Anyway, so heroes, this is actually a really weird interaction. So heroes have 1.7 base attack time, but they all start with 100 attack speed base. That puts them at however fast they attack at the start. Creeps have almost no attack speed base. So the attack speed that you see there is completely, the times at which they attack is completely unmodified by anything. So if you do give them a 10 attack speed aura, they will actually just attack 10% faster from what they did before you give them the aura. But if you take a hero and you give them a Helm of the Dominator, we're already attacking like with plus 100 attack speed or whatever, right? So if you add the Dominator, it's not like we're just going to attack 10% faster. It'll be somewhere more like somewhere between like 6 and 8% or something faster. I don't know the exact hard numbers there, but the fact is, if you take a unit that doesn't have any attack speed and you add some attack speed to it, it's going to roughly increase it at exactly that value. If the unit already has some attack speed on it, it won't increase quite as drastically. So like the creeps themselves have a lower base attack time, so you notice buffs on them way more.
Huh.
So that seems weird, right?
So on the Dota 2 wiki, it actually lists, so if the HOD aura is effectively 480 health per minute.
Yeah, right? That's crazy.
It's a lot. Also, apparently the Dota 2 wiki now has recommended heroes for items. I've never seen that before. It recommends you buy HOD on Chen, Lycan, and Drow Ranger. Anyway.
Yeah, Lycan it's okay for. Drow, Drow I like it on. Chen, whatever.
Yeah, nobody plays the hero anyway. Okay, yeah. So basically HOD is just like a great item. Like it's one of those items that's just well-rounded, right?
It's kind of like the new drum, honestly.
Uh-huh. Yeah, like I think of these two similarly. Kind of like what you were earlier.
Yeah, and the other thing is this patch is so team fight and skirmish heavy. Having something like a Helm of the Dominator, it's basically like, okay, what's like level 1 Witch Doctor's W? Because it's basically that. Like, you just get that now. Where's this asshole? Where's Witch Doctor, buddy? Where is he? W?
Yeah,
W for Witch
10.
Doctor. All right. No, wait. You got 16. All right, so it's half a level 1 Witch Doctor. That doesn't sound nearly as good, but it's a shit ton of healing. Like, it keeps you up and it keeps your whole team up. Like, if you have it on your team during a team fight, especially if it's early on, like, let's say you get like a 10, 11 minute Helm of the Dominator, and then you have like a little skirmish going on and your whole team is healing for 8 when these like supports are level 5 and auto attacking you for like 50. Like, that shit adds up pretty fucking quick. And then it also gives your whole team the attack speed and shit. And like, if you have creeps around you, they're attacking a lot bigger, a lot faster too. Like, it's super solid. And then like any creep that you mind control, I feel like people are just getting a lot better with creeps in general. Like, if you watch Arteezy's stream, who is kind of the person who opened my eyes to the amazingness of Helm of the Dominator. Like, creep is so fast. It's like 425. You can use it to scout around you and shit. You can just pick up a kobold, and so for 1800 gold, I get all these like stats and attack speed and health regen, so I don't need to buy a regen item anymore. And then also my whole team moves 12% faster. Like, it's fucking incredible.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, whenever people dominate creeps, right? That's something that, like we talked about earlier, and a lot is it's so easy to underestimate, right? Like, people are like, oh, he has a frost ogre. And it's like, okay, he has a few extra armor or whatever. But then, like, you're hitting somebody like, oh my god, he has 10 extra armor or whatever it is, and it's like, this is impossible.
Yeah, it's like 8. This is a ton.
It's a ton. And it's one of those things where, or the same with that, like Alpha Wolf, it's very easy to just underestimate and be like, oh, it's just a wolf, he's going to do a little extra damage, but it's actually a ton of damage. So yeah, like that's where it really comes in clutch. Is like not only does it give you all this useful stuff, but it gives you a creep, which also gives you useful stuff.
And the wolf gives you like plus 60 damage or whatever, like plus 30% damage on whatever high ass amounts of damage people have now. It'll actually end up as like being like plus fucking 60 damage for your hero, which is like a butterfly's worth of damage. Like, that's a shit ton. It's like what an MKB gives you. So yeah, like all these creeps are honestly so big, and a lot of the previous restrictions you think about when you look at these creeps before, like, oh, the Centaur, the stun is great, but he moves at 320 or 3 speed or whatever the fuck. Like, no, it's 425 speed now. He's faster than them. Like, there's very few heroes that are faster than a Centaur that has been domed, and he will fucking get on you. You get like a purge creep, and you're just like purging motherfuckers. Like, you're against Omnite, you have this 425 speed little satyr running everywhere purging shit. Like, it's good.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, I just use it to scout a shit ton too, like just walking through a lane, I'm like farming up, mind control one of the creeps, like move it, see if someone's coming to gank me. If not, I keep farming. Like, there's just a lot of shit you can do with it. It's like really skill based, and it can be super intimidating to do. But if you don't want to require a lot of mechanics, like, just go find either a kobold or the kobold foreman, the guy with the goblet, or a wolf, and just like select it, hit M, the move button, and then click on your hero, and it'll just follow you around for the rest of the game until it dies.
And like Proud said, I mean, they're super fast, but also they get brought up to 1400 health, right? So you can take that little satyr, and it's not just going to get killed instantly, right? Like, it's going to be a tanky guy. Like, yeah. I mean, they've definitely made Helm of the Dominator now. It is, not only is it a better item overall, but it is one of those items that it has a low skill floor and a high skill ceiling. So you can get and like make sick plays with like satyrs or whatever, and then you could also just be lazy and just be like, I just got a wolf, or I got like a kobold or a satyr. So actually, and
also there are like all these heroes that just build, like, you take Juggernaut. Juggernaut scales really well with basically every stat. But if you take like items that he used to got, or he goes Phase and then Aquila, like, those aren't big attack speed items. They have a bunch of damage on it. Aquila has a few agi, but you get the phase boots first. And then if you get the Dom right after, like, it gives you 20 fucking attack speed. Like, it's basically Power Tread's worth of damage. So if you have a hero that likes to go phase but really does like the attack speed of Power Treads, like, Dom is a really easy transition item over Aquila that will actually just fill your attack speed out. Like, Troll Warlord plus Dom, like, Troll Warlord's biggest issue is his first 2 hits he just doesn't have any fucking attack speed for, but if you get Dom, like, you have enough attack speed to carry you through the first few hits. It's just so fucking good, man.
And the build-up's cheap, and that's like a huge advantage for these early game items. It's a headdress and a glove of haste, and then a 725 cost recipe. Like, that's all super cheap stuff.
Yeah, headdress is such a luxury to get. You just get like the ring of regen and lane when you're like getting harassed out, and you're like, all right, I'm fucking set now.
Yep. All right. So let's hop into, our actual combo. And this week we are gonna. I don't know if we'll build any HODs. You might. I'm not going to. I'm gonna be playing Bane, and Proud is gonna be playing Centaur or Centaur War Runner to be official. Yeah. And I'm very excited. I think Bane is going to be my hero of this patch when I'm supporting in pubs. Honestly, he feels so strong. And some people don't like him because they're like, oh, he's so boring. All he does is like channel. But he's like tanky. He slaps people with his purple limbs. He shoots things from his purple limbs, whatever. Yeah. And like the hero is just very action oriented and fits in well with his current metagame. He can do a lot of different things. He can go in the off lane as a duo lane. He can actually solo off lane if depending on the matchup because of his nuke, whatever, brain sap. It does pure damage. He counters heroes that build BKBs. He counters naturally evasive heroes. Like if you get a puck and you just get your ult on him, it's like, okay, well, I don't care about your Yules and your Blink Dagger and your Jaunts, etc. So here just does a ton of stuff. Pure damage scales incredibly. Enfeeble, I mean, I'll talk about it at length later on when we talk about this. But like Enfeeble as an ability is the most underestimated ability in Dota 2, I think.
Oh my god, were you playing? Yeah, no, you were playing. You were on. That was that game that we put Skrunk mid on Viper, and you were like on a dual off lane with Legion, and I was safe lane on Jug, and we were against that Bane, and he just shit on me, and I think it was me and AG. I was pretty pissed about that game. We definitely should have been able to stop him, but there's various issues that happened. But I just couldn't do shit. I have 15 fucking damage. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I definitely. I think he maxed Enfeeble second, probably like 1 point Nightmare, 1 point ult. But so there, and he had solo offlane XP. So it is one of those things where Bane is not picked often. That adds to the whole underestimating portion. But I was literally like blinking and dueling people at like 20 minutes, and I would have Enfeeble on me, and I was quite literally hitting people for 4 damage. Like I could do quite literally no damage to people. Like I wouldn't even stop their Blink Daggers. That's how little I was hitting for. So the Enfeeble is so easy to underestimate. So for instance, today in one of the games because I played a practice game before I took it into ranked, because I haven't played Bane in a while, and I literally just went mid, and we didn't have any combos for Nightmare. So like in my ranked game, we had a Mirana, so we just did the Mirana Bane thing, the classic. So I took Nightmare first that game, but in this pub where I didn't have that, I went Enfeeble first. I walked to mid. It was an enemy Storm Spirit versus my Tinker. I enfeebled him from like 800 range away or whatever it is, so super far away. Bane's also fast, so he can catch up to people, so you don't need to like worry about like not being able to get your stuff off. And I just won the first 4 to 5 waves for my carry because Storm Spirit was doing like 20 damage, and that's not like that's not an amount of damage that you can realistically last hit with. So he like got a few CS with remnants, and after that it was like, okay, well, eventually I left. But then like his bottle was delayed by a ton. My Tinker had basically a free lane, effectively. You could stay far enough away that you won't like soak XP, or you'll soak very little, so you don't so you won't get flamed by your mid, basically. And it was just like what was he gonna do? Like you can't purge Enfeeble, which is one of the biggest things in the mid to late game. Is like if you BKB, it stays on you. You can't put it on people who are already BKB'd, but it stays on you. If you Manta, it doesn't go off. It doesn't go off on anything. I don't even know if you can purge it with like Oracle ult. Like it is just an absurdly strong ability.
Yeah, maybe with Oracle ult or fucking Abaddon. I don't know, man. I hate that skill so fucking much. I'm gonna be like, it is like one of the skills that's not very imaginative, right? Like we have like there are all these abilities in Dota, right, that are all complicated. It's like, oh, what are the interactions, yada yada yada. But Enfeeble is one of those abilities that's just like super super simple. It's like, okay, you used to hit for damage, now you hit for 30, 60, 90, or 120 less, and it's not mitigated by anything else. It's just like shit about it, and that's just what it is. So build damage or you're fucked.
Yeah, you just gotta suck it up and not do damage. it is absurdly strong. It is costly in that you have to put a point in it. When Bane is like as a support, usually you're not gonna have like a ton of points to move around. So you want to obviously max brain sap first, and normally I would just get 1 point in it early, and then 1 point in Nightmare, and then depending on the game, I'd either max Nightmare or max Enfeeble. But so Enfeeble basically is like the best part about Bane, because you just have to watch the enemy carry suffer and not be able to do anything. And there's just there's no way to recover from it. It's just like, okay, well, I just have to suck it up and not do damage now, I guess. So that's Bane. He's a lot of fun. I love him. He has amazing starting stats. Unless things have changed, I believe he has the best starting stats in the entire game.
Abaddon Shield will not dispel Enfeeble.
Yeah.
Just literally nothing.
It's a force to be reckoned with. In a literal sense. You have to reckon with it. You cannot dodge it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's Bane. Item-wise, basically on him, you're going to go for Mana Boots, Blink Dagger, Force Staff, Glimmer Cape, stuff like that. I did build Veil on him, actually. That was a lot of fun. But basically,
to make your brain sap hit harder?
Well, our team had a whole bunch of magic damage in it, and I just wanted stats.
I mean, it's a good fucking item.
Yeah, dude, Veil is I would say Veil is probably the best item in the game outside of HOD, when it comes to just like a ton of value for a relatively nominal cost.
Yeah.
But so I built a Veil, but in that game I think I was actually dominating. I was thinking about making a video, but I was like, no, that's too like masturbatory to make a video of just myself doing really well for the YouTube channel.
I was gonna say it's never stopped you before, but I don't think you've ever made a video in your life.
Yeah, I haven't made a video in my entire life. That is also true. So hopefully our game for the show goes as well. But that game I went Mana Boots, Windlace, Mana Boots, Blink, Veil. Excuse me.
Doing okay there, buddy?
You got options. No, I'm still coughing a little. So
okay. Sorry to hear that.
That's that. I am too, trust me. But our listeners don't have to hear it because I have push to talk on.
God bless you.
Anyway, so you got options with items. So like it's a support, right? So you're gonna build mobility and you're gonna build stuff to save people. I was working on a Lotus Orb in my recent game, so he's got options basically.
All right,
so
let's talk about Centaur. Let's go through these talents.
Okay,
level 10. What do you get? Mana or armor?
Mana, almost always, because you're gonna be disassembling your Mana Boots for Aether Lens, and a lot of times you don't want to rebuy Mana Boots.
Okay.
And he has a ton of armor and stats already.
XP or health?
This is what I'm torn on. I've gone both ways in my 2 games today, and I like having the extra XP because it's 25% extra
That's
XP, which is a ton. But at the same time, like, you can't go wrong with health, and he doesn't build health items, right? He builds like mobility items, and he builds int items and stuff like that.
I feel like,
but he does have so much health in the first place.
After you're 15, like, what do you need the XP for outside of like to get to level 25?
Yeah,
like, your
that's the thing.
Fiend's Grip isn't getting much better. Like the damage isn't really going to go up much. I mean, it is, but it's like the damage isn't a big deal. The night, like, you
get it for longer.
You already have Nightmare, Brain Sap, and Enfeeble all finished. Yeah, you just fucking respawn like more time. That sounds shitty. Why do you even want to level up on this hero?
Yeah, well, that was I can't remember who said it, but I remember there was some pro player that was like talking about a game or whatever, and he's like, yeah, when I'm playing support, I literally don't want to level up after level 16, or I guess now it would be level 18. It's like, why would I want to level up? Like, the stats are negligible, and it just means me dead for longer.
When I was playing Druid, I would like purposely walk away from my bear before it mightest after I was 16.
Yeah. So,
I don't want to level. I get stats on my shitty hero.
Yeah. So, that's about that. So, what is the level 20 choice now?
It is 175 cast range or 35 move speed. Probably go with the cast range, yeah.
Cast range, definitely, yeah. Because that doubles up with Aether Lens, and you're casting from, like, crazy far away. And you don't have very long cast range in the first place with things like Nightmare and Enfeeble. Although Nightmare does get, like, longer.
Yeah. I mean, and you do have, the cast range goes up to 650, which is still really short, honestly. And, I mean, you're pretty fast-paced. Like, 35 move speed is absurdly attractive, but, I mean, I'll go with the cast range. Yeah.
And you're stationary for a long time.
And then you know the level 25 talent, of course, the infamous 120 Enfeeble damage reduction, taking up to a 240 fucking damage reduction versus 200 brain sap heal. I feel like you always go the Enfeeble, like.
Yeah, unless like you're in a very. Yeah, unless you're in a very specific situation, I think the enfeeble damage is just so good.
Yeah.
Like, it's not to say that the brain sap plus damage is bad. It's just that, like, dude, if you, like a carry doing 240 less damage, that's not purgeable. Like, what are they gonna do? Literally nothing. They're just gonna stand there. And, like, they're gonna have all these items that just don't matter. It's like, oh, you have a Daedalus. That's cute. Like, you're critting for 200 damage. Have fun. Like, it's just incredible. So I think I would almost always go enfeeble.
Enfeeble's 20-second duration, 8-second cooldown, 95 mana. Fuck me, dude.
Yeah. And, like, it has obviously implications during fights, but even outside of fights, like, if you're getting ratted by SD Luna, you could just enfeeble the Luna, and, like, yeah, sure, the SD illusions are still going to ruin your base because, you know, balance. But the Luna's going to be, like, just slapping glaives at your tower and doing nothing. So it's a very multifaceted ability that, while it is very simple, it is just so effective. Like, it is just brutally effective.
Yeah. The 200 brain sap thing, like, looks good or whatever, but if you just really think about the implications of the enfeeble damage reduction, it's like...
Yeah.
How? What about the win rate on that shit is? You know?
I don't have it in front of me, no.
Alright, I'll check real quick for you, because you're underprepared. Alright, let's see, buddy.
Let's see.
Brain sap has a 4% tilted win rate. I don't actually care, though. I think the enfeeble is better.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised.
I'm not.
I mean, damage is good, right? But people also underutilize enfeeble.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, this is my general idea with a lot of these talents is like, if on the whole, like, okay, so there's like general ideas of Dota that people can have for themselves, and like you may just be like not. I don't know. This is kind of hard to say, but there's like a baseline like threshold of Dota knowledge to be able to like get the principles, and like on principle you're like enfeeble. What the fuck is this? Brain sap damage, and like maybe if you're like real shit and you have no idea what the fuck enfeeble is for, and like maybe this is good, and then you don't know how to use it, you're just gonna lose a lot.
Yeah.
And that can like be reflected in like win rates or whatever. So like really the only win rate that I ever really look at too hard is like the 5k plus win rate. Of course, when like you're not playing at that level, of course, you know, look at the win rate appropriate for your skill level. But on this show, we try to talk about what is the best in like a perfect Dota world, right? I think in general, if you don't really know what you're doing too much on Bane, it's safest to go with the plus 200 brain sap damage. But if you wanted to be like, yo, I want to be the best Bane ever, I think that you would probably want to go with the enfeeble damage reduction. At least if you want to be, you know, like Bane as, you know, like this perfect Bane that exists in the realm of forms, like what this Bane would look like. But if you were just like carrying the shit out of your game, you know, get 200 brain sap damage heal. Also, I mean, if you're snowballing, you're probably going to get that, and whereas if you're losing, you probably want the damage reduction. So, I don't know. There's a lot of ways to interpret these stats. I definitely do not view them as gospel.
Yeah. That's definitely the way to think about it, right? So that's Bane. He's not super exciting. So let's talk about Centaur, who's a little more exciting. People like Centaur a lot. I like Bane, but that's just me.
Yeah, Centaur's cool. He's a big boy. His name's Brad.
Yep.
Centaur, Brad Warden. And last patch he was seeing a lot of play in the safe lane. And he's in mostly kind of cheesy situations, but and some just kind of as like a nice fighty carry. And that's kind of kept on a little bit. Like it seems like that would really fit the meta. But he's mostly been being played in the offlane right now, and he has a pretty absurd win rate. And I've seen him in a good amount of my pubs, especially as soon as the patch started. And they were all doing really well. So the last iteration of Centaur that we saw in the safe lane, you would go like brown boots or whatever, sometimes go tranquils, but mostly just brown boots, and then you would just get like Vanguard and Pipe and be super tanky and just like walk at shit until it cried. And this offlane Centaur is played pretty differently, obviously. You're not going to have that absurd farm advantage where you can just get a Vanguard in 2 seconds and then no one can touch you. So you're still going to play it like an old Centaur where you get tranquils and Blink Dagger, and then you transition into like whatever tanky items, Pipe, Hood, Blade Mail, Vanguard, that sort of thing. And then try to scale into like an Ags. So that's just kind of like how he is. It's not an incredibly interesting set of items. It's mostly just like his talents and the way that the game works now that really work to Centaur's benefit. Having like a nice blink initiator is great. Having this global presence of Stampede where like you can be fighting somewhere else and get someone else out of a fight, or you can like help your team 5-man initiate before you guys all have blink daggers up. It's kind of like a pseudo Centaur, or not Centaur, like a pseudo Slardar. Like Slardar can initiate pre-blink and be fighting from minute 4 or whatever with sprint. As soon as your offlane Centaur gets Stampede, your entire team can do that. So that's definitely one of his strongest aspects, is just like the early game 5-man dominance that Stampede affords you. And then you have, of course, Blink Stomp, incredible, and he does a great deal of magic damage with Double Edge and AoE magic damage at that. And then his new level 25 talent, gaining the Return Aura, definitely gives him some more late game staying power, and helps him avoid that, like, there's this thing when I first started playing Dota called like the Centaur effect. This was like before even his Stampede was reworked to like be a fucking stun. Before that rework, it was like Centaur was really fucking big and tanky and strong, but you could just ignore him and nothing fucking mattered. So as soon as you get level 25 and you gain that return aura, it doesn't matter who they're attacking, they're still facing like the brunt of your return no matter what you do.
Yeah, return. Again, when we talk about underestimated abilities, people forget about return, and then it's like, oh boy, I am taking more damage than I'm doing.
Yes.
Okay. So what do you do on Centaur now? Like item wise and skill build wise?
Okay, so item wise, if you don't need to start out with a Iron Talon, which we probably won't because we're dual laning, you just go like pretty standard offlane items. I'm probably gonna go like Tango, Salve, Mango, Stout Shield, and probably a branch too because I'm eventually gonna get Pipe. But for the most part, it's just going to be some pretty basic stuff, kind of like how you would play a Slardar or an Axe. Just get the Tranquils first. I guess not an Axe, because Axe goes Vanguard hella quick, but just go Tranquils, maybe a Wand and a Raindrop for mana, and get Blink. And then as soon as the Blink's done, I'm trying to see what people are doing. I think most people go... you get like Vanguard first, so like get Blink, then the Vanguard, and then Hood of Defiance and Blade Mail in whatever kind of order you want, and then you just go from there to either Pipe or Ags, whichever one they feel like is going to help your team the most.
Yeah, and then skill wise, you're just probably maxing Double Edge first, and then
still a max Double Edge world.
Yeah, and then like 1 point Hoof Stomp, because I know the scaling on that isn't great, and then you just max Return second, and.
Yeah, the scaling, like the stun goes up by 0.25, which isn't incredible. The damage only goes up by 50. So yeah, I mean, you can just deal with the 1 point and Hoof Stomp for a while. If you're getting a lot out of your return and you're doing well, just max it. If you're only really being used for Blink Stomping, like if you're really far behind, you can just max the Hoof Stomp. But for the most part, yeah, like max your W. You want to point in Hoof Stomp for the most part first. If you're solo offlaning, you may want 1 point in return just so you can trade better, but that does also leave you very vulnerable, so you won't have like, the actual stun to stop people from killing you. So you just kind of judge the lane if you want to get Hoof Stomp or Return at level 1. Either way, you're at level 2, you're going to want 1 point Hoof Stomp, 1 point Return. And then you max Double Edge from there. Get ulti, of course, whenever you can. After Double Edge is maxed, you max Return, and then Hoof Stomp. The talents are actually probably the most interesting thing about him right now. His level 10 talent, level 10 is plus 30 damage, which is fucking awesome. But the other one is plus 2 mana regen. And I'm not entirely sure how to interpret this, because the mana regen has a pretty much like a better win rate by and large, and plus 30 damage is super attractive though. But I mean, his mana costs are pretty brutal, and I remember a lot of times when I'm playing him, I do oftentimes look for mana boots and that sort of thing around my team, but I feel like the presence of the sanctuaries or shrines or whatever they're called should alleviate that a pretty good amount. So I would say that I would get the plus 30 damage, especially if I'm getting a lot of help in lane. But the plus 2 mana regen is definitely a really good option if you're going to be playing more of like a supporty, or not supporty, like more of a utility center. But given my immense skill and my penchant for right clicks, I think I would be like betraying myself to not get 30 damage here.
Okay, so what do you go for next? 10 magic resist or 10% evasion, right? That's a
magic
pretty...
resist.
Yeah, well, because that applies to your own abilities that hurt you.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you're going to have the Vanguard for the time in the game when you get that. Like, you're not really taking much physical damage. And then even if you are, you're dealing return damage back. So it's not like I don't know. It's not like there's going to be like a lot of right clickers hitting you, and that's going to change it up. It's going to be like they're going to tear you down with magic damage from afar to not have to like fight into your return. And if they are going to try to fight into your return, it's going to be like after everyone else is fucking dead. Because I mean, if their right clickers, like their PA is not going to be like, "Yo, a centaur, let's get him," and I'll be like, "Haha, I have 10% evasion. You didn't see that coming." Like they're not. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, and so at 20, do you pick 15 strength or 10% spell amp? I think
I go strength.
Is just the pick.
Yeah,
like that because that's going to apply to return as well.
Yeah, I mean, does spell amp apply to return? I would think it would.
I don't think so.
Well, I think it does.
It might. I feel like
should,
it
right?
probably
I mean,
doesn't.
It's a spell. Like, why wouldn't it?
Because I mean, now I really don't know. You might be right.
I think it does. I'm pretty sure because it's like it scales based off of your strength. It's not like it does your strength and even if it did do your strength, it's because it's a spell. Like just because it does physical damage, I mean, it ought to. Either way, I do like the 15 strength more for the most part. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's close. If we look at win rate, it is within 1% win rate. On both. Although 15 strength is picked 74% of the time.
Well, I mean, I could tell you that one was going to get picked more.
Yeah.
Oh, strength. Oh, unga. I want strength.
Yeah.
1K.
Okay, so at 25 now, do you pick? I mean, I
Return
think
aura. That's not even a discussion. Return aura is the only option. Like an aura of that sounds awesome. It doesn't even explain to you what that is. It just says gains return aura, and everyone's like, "Say no more. We got it." That's what I'm picking.
So actually, maybe you should just go into it. What does return aura do? Does it scale off of your
entire team return based off of your strength? Yes.
Yeah. So it's not like the CM on your team is going to be reflecting damage predicated on your strength, right? Not her strength.
Yeah, so I have like 200 strength at level 25 or some shit like that, and it's doing like I don't know, like it'll do like 150 damage every time they right click my CM back to them. So yeah, I'll get that, sure.
Yep. Okay, so I mean that's kind of it. Oh, so actually, let's talk a little bit about Bane Centaur before we hop into our game.
Sure.
Bane Centaur as a combo, or Centaur, whatever, as a combo is, I wouldn't say it's one of the classic Bane combos, but it's definitely one of the better ones. Because basically, I could just Nightmare somebody, you can roll up on them, and then we do our full combo, and we do a ton of damage. Right, and we're doing a mix of not only magical damage, not only physical damage, but we're doing a mix of pure damage and physical damage. So it's a lot harder to mitigate in that, like, people can't just like buy a glimmer cape or whatever. So it's one of these things where like you really got to watch out, basically.
I mean, even if you could mitigate it, you would need someone. You would need like someone else to mitigate it with their glimmer cape, right? Because I'm gonna we're gonna start out with a stun, and we have Fiend's Grip to follow it up too. So like. I mean, you can just shit on some kids.
That's for sure. So that's the basic idea. And then the other thing that we talk about all the time is, right, it's just two tanky heroes, right? Centaur, obviously, and then Bane, like, as a support, is one of the tankier supports. Yeah. So we're planning on playing this in a duo off lane, depending on how things go with our random teammates. But it is just one of these things that, like, it requires attention. And it's really hard to kill either of us. So... I'm looking forward to it. I think this is a really good combo.
With the insane and feeble damage, we can make carries hurt themselves whenever they hit me, or when I have return aura. Like the carry's hitting for like 300 damage minus 240, and then I'm returning like 150 every time they hit, and they're just like they take 3 times as much damage as they put out because of return and feeble. Like that sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I'm very excited to do this one. Honestly, this is one of my favorite combos we've done in a while. So. On that note, I think we're going to hop into the game, and of course, we will be back after this. You can watch the game on YouTube, youtube.com/.ptv1. You'll be able to watch both our perspectives. It should be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. And of course, we'll be back in, momentarily to tell you how our game went.
For you. For us, it'll be about an hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah, for me, it'll be an hour or so. And
I'll play safe lane. I get plus 30 damage. I'll fucking right-click some kids, I'll be honest with you. It's coming good.
I'm sure safe lane Zendor is probably still good. It's just like he's suited more to the offlane now. Anyway, we'll see what we do. So, goodbye. Alright, hello everyone. We're back. We have just completed our game. We are We are less burdened by MMR now that we just lost 25 more of it.
Just get a little bit of that off our shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice and relaxing to just have to worry about less MMR. But, so, the game was fine. It was just one of those games where, like, it's party MMR, right? And our team had a bunch of legitimately low 4K, high 3K people that ended up having mid and carry, and the other team had, like, low 5K people that got those roles, and they styled on our pals. But they were nice people, so, whatever.
Yeah, it was a fun game. It'd be fun to watch, honestly.
Yeah. Anyway, I think to get right into it, I'll announce the team. So we had a Luna safe lane, a Sniper middle, a Dazzle safe lane support, and then, of course, our duo lane, Bane, Centaur. And the enemy team had a Storm mid, a Spectre, Warlock, Ogre safe lane. I think the Ogre roamed a bit. And they had an off lane Sand King. So the other team basically just had a ton of team fight, and we didn't really. We had, like, 2 cores that are very farm intensive, but the players themselves did not farm. So, it is what it is. Not a huge deal. It happens to the best of us. And it was a loss, but I think we could both agree that Bane Centaur was super fun and very effective and very good in, like, a different game where we have comparably competent cores on each team.
The enemy team had an insane amount of team fight, between Spectre, Warlock, and Sand King, and then their other heroes are like Storm, which, it's like a 5.1k Storm against a 4.6k Sniper. Not a great matchup for the Sniper. Mid-game, late game, or early game at any point. And then they have these, like, easy-to-execute team fight ultimates that are, like, just so fucking brutal. So it was a lot to play around, but we did a lot of smoke ganks, and we got a bunch of pickoffs with the 2 of us. As soon as you got 6, like, we got a kill, and then we went to their jungle, and then we got, like, another kill, and we just, like, kept going around getting kills with our 2 ultimates. It was super fun. It was great, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing, or the most relevant thing to our actual conversation, it would be, or just to talk about our early game, right? Because that's where we're talking about, Bane Centaur as a combo is most effective in that, like, early to early mid, game, right? Like, that's our window.
Game. Yeah, sure.
Huh? Yeah. So, okay.
Yep.
So I got sidetracked. So how did it go? It went fine, right? Like, we contested their lane super well. They had actually pretty annoying heroes to kill because obviously Warlock's healing everybody through it. They have Ogre, who's crazy tanky, and Spectre, who can run through trees and also be healed by the Warlock. But we did pretty well in laning phase. I forget how many kills we got. We got a few.
We weren't able to pull the lane because, like, the camp was blocked, the hard camp was blocked, which is kind of a problem. Whenever you aggro duel, you want to be able to, like, pull and force them to come to you, like, force the action. You don't want them to be able to just sit back and trade farm. So that was kind of unfortunate. The Spectre did get a decent amount of farm, but I was, like, more net worth than him at, like, the 10-minute mark. So, it worked out okay in at least that regard. And we were definitely able, even from, like, minute 1, when it was like a 3v2 situation, we were able to trade hits with them all the time. Bane would throw a couple hits and then brain set back to full and then walk back, and then I would be hitting them, so they'd have to turn over and hit me, and then I have return level 1, so we're just, like, trading very efficiently even against 3 heroes. So it just, like, worked out really. Like, as soon as we started trading, we were like, okay, this is real, this is actually super solid. And then we just kind of dominated the lane for the most part. We should have done a lot better rotating around. Like, you should have been going for the, like, top rune and then the bounty rune or whatever when it spawned, just to give me a little bit more experience, because we ended up both being, like, level 4 at 6 minutes. So I feel like our movement as an aggro duo probably wasn't that good, but just like the lane itself was really strong.
Yeah, and Spectre was really behind for a very long time, and then just through living through fights, she ended up with some decent net worth. I definitely, when I did start rotating, I rotated to mid, and we had a good couple fights there. But it's definitely one of those things where I just haven't played enough, or I'm not used to the patch enough, that I just wasn't, like, thinking, like, oh, I should go get runes and stuff. Because we missed, like, a few bounties where it's like, I just missed the 2-minute bounty.
But yeah, we didn't go aggro on their bounty. Was the main thing that I think we made mistakes on. Yeah, because I mean, if you do catch someone there and you just nightmare them, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'll come over, and then I fucking kill them.
Yeah. So that's something to get more used to for any and all of us. Aggro duoing or anything of that sort is just, like, managing to Yeah, I really have to manage like the opportunity cost, right, of going and getting the rune, right? So if I'm going to go back and get that rune, that's going to give me, whatever it is, 70 gold, 70 XP. And then that also means I'm going to have to leave lane for, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, depending on if you have boots, windlays, etc. So you have to think, if you get aggroed on during that like 20 seconds, that's going to be fine, right? Because you're a centaur. Whereas if we were running a different duo lane, it might be like, oh god, you left for 20 seconds to get a rune, suddenly it's dead. Suddenly my teammate's dead or something. So the opportunity cost, there is, it takes some mental math. So I definitely should have been managing that better. I was pretty happy with the Bane as a pick against this team, despite all of their CC, right? They had a lot of ways to break my channel, but having Bane against Storm is great. And having that kind of long form disable against a Warlock or a Sand King, two like very high priority targets, right, for team fight, that's really where it helps. Because, if like a Warlock is usually tanky enough that if you have like a 3-second disable, like if we only had Hoof Stomp, for example, he's going to be able to get his ult off, right? But if we happen into the situation where I can get a full length ult off on him, like he's just dead, like he's just going to die. So that was a really nice thing about having Bane. Obviously, like the game didn't go perfectly, but I do like Bane as a counter to those types of like high priority heroes.
Sure.
And honestly, this enemy team had a ton of CC, and I still got a whole bunch of like long length ults. So if you're like picking a team comp and you realize like, hey, the enemy team only has one stun or like only has one silence or something, like Bane suddenly skyrockets in value, right?
Yeah, I mean, they had insane initiation stuns too, like, or at least counter initiation, like Sand King, Blink Burrow Strike from across the fucking world. Anytime Warlock dropped his ultis, any trees that we were hiding in were just fucking gone. It was honestly like we'd start something and then just like a fucking nuclear blast would come down. And like fucking like as soon as it happens, there's just a flash, and then like everyone's dead and running and screaming, and there's like ghosts everywhere eating our souls, and there's this fucking scorpions like fucking. Oh god, what's that fucking Starship Trooper aliens coming out from the fucking ground, like screaming at us with like sandstorms going around and epicenters fucking popping our shit off, and then there's like an ogre on the side saying you can't leave this way. Like it was fucking like horror territory. So getting a Fiend Script out for a long time in a team fight was like not super easy.
Yeah. So talking about the team fight, that was really the sticking point. Like that's where we lost it, right? Not just because
they just had team fight and we didn't.
Yeah. And it was one of those situations where I think we could have played this game with the same people with the same amount of farm or whatever, and we still probably would have lost. But like our execution was we just like got into a few team fights that we really just shouldn't have, right? Because we had like one where it was pretty even and we were doing fine. Then we had one fight at bottom where it was like they unveiled it was one of those timing things where they got their Blink Dagger on Sand King and their Bloodstone on Storm at like the exact same time, and then they won a team fight. And that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, it was like what, like 7? It was like 7-9 or something, and then they just like 5-man wiped us with like Blink, Burrow Strike, Storm with a Bloodstone goes in. We look at Storm has 12 Bloodstone charges now, and the score's like 14-7. I'm like, shit.
Yeah,
we're fucked.
Yeah, so that was definitely the beginning of the end, and we just had a few of those really. Like it was just one of those things where you want to push, and it's always difficult because playing against a team that is predicated on like long cooldown ults like Ravage or Balrog or what have you, you think like unless you're using a timer, I feel like I fall into this trap all the time where I think that it's gonna be on cooldown. Like logically, I'm like, all right, they just took a team fight, and then like you push and then you get ulted, and then it's like, oh god, I didn't know they had that. And that definitely happened during one of our pushes in mid lane. We pushed to mid tier 2. And it was like, okay, we're pushing like right after we lost a fight because like their team fight ults are down, whatever, we're gonna make it work. And then they just had him anyway, and it was like, oh god, and we lost. And like that was another thing where I think right after that they pushed for a lane of Rax, and it was just rough. Like it just it is what it is. But it was one of those kind of games. Do you have anything else to say about the game? I mean,
I liked the kind of interaction, like just using Centaur as this like AoE damage nullifier. Like we had one team fight where we had a glimmer of hope where I was like, oh no, we can just fight them all the time. It was that below like dire tier 2, as soon as I got my pipe and they like did that like huge initiation whatever, and I got pipe on all of us, and just like the smoke cleared and everyone was still like at full health, and we were like, oh, let's just kill them, and everything was totally fine. It's like, oh no, we're good now. And then I got my ags and I saved you from like 5 of them hitting you, and I just like ags and blinked over and was like, hello, this is a pipe, and then you just like walked out for free, and I was like, we can win this now. And then we went for another team fight because I was like, yo, we got spells, and it just didn't. But the idea, like, there was like one fight where like just my pipe plus my ulti and like everything was fine, and then other fights it just wasn't. But I liked how it worked out. Like I was just like fucking guard, everything was okay.
Yeah, man, wasn't. The Centaur Ags is so effective against that kind of team fight lineup. Like I really liked it. I know, kind of like Centaur Ags and Abaddon Ags, they function similarly, almost exactly the same, really. And it's one of those things where I feel like I've talked about underestimating things on like every single bit of this show this week, but it is one of those Aghanim Scepters that I so rarely see, that when you're actually like in a team fight and you have all this stuff going on and you're just not taking damage, it is very effective. For 4,200 gold, yeah. I'm a huge fan of this Ags. It was perfect. I mean, well, not perfect because we still lost, but it was amazing. It was really, really effective.
Yeah.
That also just brings to mind that Centaur Abaddon is an amazing lane also. Because you can explode the shield with your double edge.
Yeah, that was like the first time Centaur came back into like the pro meta was when Fnatic was playing Captain's Draft, and they drafted an aggro tri-lane of Disruptor, Abaddon, Centaur, and they would just like glimpse someone back into a Centaur with a shield, and he was like, guess what's about to happen? And they're just like, oh shit, and just like, it was great.
Yeah, there's no recourse for that, really.
Yeah, like, oh, here I go again.
Yeah, so obviously, Proud ended up with the Ags, Pipe, a Vanguard, and a Blink, and I went for a fun but a bit more greedy build, which ended up paying off in the sense that I went for a Midas, and I got that. I think it was fine.
The Midas was good? Do you really? Is that really your opinion?
I don't think it was good, but I think it paid for itself.
Yeah, at the very least, it paid for itself. I definitely don't think it was good. I'm the one who told you to do it. Well, you asked me if you should, and I was like, fuck yeah, dude. But at no point did I think it was good. I thought this game is lost for certain. Get a Midas.
Yeah. I mean, it's just me being a Midas apologist, but I got it. I got it at a point. Well, the thing about Bane, right, is that by getting the Midas, I secured more for him later because like we had cores that were farming all over the place. But the big thing about it was that he doesn't need like an item at that stage, right? Like I could have gotten my Blink a little faster, but even then, like if I had bought Blink faster, I wouldn't have had Glimmer, and if I didn't have Glimmer, I would have been dead all the time. So the Midas really just let me I was allowed to
Glimmer for like the same cost as a Midas, almost piece for piece, and then you would have had a Glimmer really early on. That sounds awesome.
Well, I mean, it wasn't really early. It was 60 minutes. I still had Glimmer at 24. So, like, I mean, that's 8 minutes.
Discussion about getting Deso 7 minutes later.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, I agree with you that it was not the ideal purchase, but I don't think it was, like, actively that bad.
I just want to say, like, statistically and in general, like, Midas is not a good item. It's like, okay for some cores now, but, like, Midas is not a good item.
Yeah. I hate that you're right, but
and it's fun, but like Midas is not a good item. Stop building Midas unless you're like Lone Druid or Invoker.
Yeah,
it just sucks. Like, what if instead you were able to use your 10k net worth to fight at the most important part of the game, or not 10k, 2k net worth to fight at like the most important juncture in fucking a Dota 2 match?
I don't disagree with you. But I'm just a big fan of that.
We're on the same page. I just don't want people to come away from this being like, I'm gonna play Bane and pick Midas. Like, do that, sure, but just like, don't pretend the loss was like you did everything you could. Not to say you're doing that now, Sam. I love your little avatar that I'm looking at right now, but just I want to speak the gospel of truth.
Yeah,
it sucks.
I want to argue with you, but Midas is like It's just an item I get because I want to be greedy on a support, but I know I'm not going to be able to like actually farm anywhere. So I'm like, oh well, I'll get levels and gold off this, and then it pays for itself. And you're like, oh man, pat myself on the back. This was a good idea. But yeah. Anyway, I did end up getting that around 16, and it was just one of those impulse things. I was like, man, I have 1,600 gold right now. I should probably spend it. And
I know.
What would I
that
possibly spend 1,600 gold on? Ooh, boy, I might as well be.
3/4 of a glimmer cape? Nope. Midas.
No. Garbage item, glimmer cape, terrible. But anyway, so I did go glimmer right after that. Then I went blink, and then I had a hood, which was going to become a pipe. Previously, like I said, normally what I'll do is I'll just go mana boots blink or like mana boots force staff. But glimmer was super necessary this game. It saved me a ton. So
yeah,
it was fine.
You didn't want BKB.
I would have built it after the pipe. I was actually thinking about building it instead of the pipe, but I felt like I was not like they had enough stuff to pierce BKB that
really? Like what?
Well, Warlock ult.
Anything else?
No. Well,
no,
yes,
literally nothing.
Yeah, I mean Warlock ult's pretty big, right? Like it's pretty effective.
For
if I had
1 second. It doesn't do damage through it. Oh, they had a refresher. Well, they had a refresher after the game was over, but
yeah. No,
I don't know. I mean, yeah, like if they counter initiated your Fiend's Grip with a Warlock ulti, like yeah, I agree. But I mean, I definitely also agree with the pipe for the most part because like the issue wasn't just like you dying; it was like our entire fucking team falling apart. Yeah, like we have this sniper that is against a Spectre, and he builds a Shadow Blade and doesn't finish into a Silver Edge and builds a fucking Bloodthorn and a Deso. Like, what the fuck? Finish your goddamn Silver Edge, you goddamn idiot. But
yeah, he was not the best.
The fucking Luna just has a Wraith Band. Just like, no, I'm not gonna finish in Aquila. I'm just gonna stick with the Wraith Band. I think this is good. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. There was also a long period of time after Luna built her BKB. She also never used her ult properly. But after she built her BKB, there was a while where she would have her Wraith Band in her inventory and not the BKB. And I was like so anxious. I was like, please don't tell me that this person is not going to have their BKB in their inventory.
Well, it's better in the pack. That way it's ready.
So you don't accidentally hit it. Because he did accidentally hit it.
No, that's great. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the game, really. I'm kind of done. How about you? Do you have anything else to say about it?
You can go to sleep.
Cool. All right. Yeah, it's 2:30 a.m. right now. So I suffer for my art. Anyway, I have plugs to do. My art, I do freelance sculptures made entirely out of discarded clothing. It's bizarre.
Okay.
Anyway, we have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/IVTV. If you're listening to this next week on, let's see, what's the date going to be? Like January 12th or something?
Time is
January 11th. Yeah, you're right. On January 11th, the in-houses are starting back up again. We actually just previously had the giveaway, which was fun. I was not able to attend, but I assume it was fun.
What did you give away?
They're all fun people. I didn't give away anything, but the .p as a whole and Grouty gave away a whole bunch of Steam gift cards and Arcanas. So it was a good time had by all. Everybody loves free stuff. But so in-houses are starting next Wednesday on 9 p.m. Eastern. There was a good time. I'm very excited. Again, I don't think Proud or I will be able to play many or cast many, but I hope I cast it or play at least a few. On top of that, we have we also stream regularly, solo queue, etc. You can watch our videos on YouTube, youtube.com/.ptv1. That's where you can catch the game from today, the game from other days, replay reviews, the podcast in a YouTube format.
Videos of YouTubers.
Yeah. There's also talk of us having video feeds, at least for the Tuesday show. Me and Roland talking about that. So look out for that in the coming weeks. I also might be lying to you right now because I don't know how I don't know if we're actually going to end up doing that. But that's something bonus for the YouTube viewers.
Our website there was like a YouTube channel called like YouTuba, like a tuba person on YouTube, and there isn't. It's just this one video with 212 views. I was really hoping there would be a YouTube up person.
That's incredibly sad for both you and whoever made that channel. We have an Amazon banner on our website. You can click through that, and it gives us a little money. It takes nothing from you, and we appreciate that. We are on Twitter. I'm at Ursinity. Proud is at Proud Dota. Our show is at @p_show. There we go. English is hard. Email us, defensepatients@gmail.com. You can send us in questions for the Tuesday show there, which we would greatly appreciate. We got some really good ones in the last few weeks, and I'm looking forward to doing more good questions. You can also show up to the recording, usually on Mondays, somewhere around 7 p.m. Eastern. We record, and you can come in on live and ask your question. Our Discord is, of course, discord.gg/.p. Nice, short, and sweet. Our Patreon is patreon.com/defensepatients if you'd like to support us monetarily. And if you would like to support us otherwise, you can give us an iTunes review. They help us tremendously. You'd be very surprised how much a single iTunes review does for a podcast. It's actually pretty significant. So pass us a review there if you can. Spare a few minutes of typing. Not even a few minutes, like a minute. And last but not least, our Reddit is r/defensepatients. On there, you can find all our shows, you can find threads, etc. One of the many ways to contact us, basically. We are open on many forms of contact. For me, especially Twitter and Discord. But I check everything, so that's that.
Okay.
We're done with the show. Thanks for listening. It's been fun. It's been real. Pick Bane. He's fun. I like him. Goodbye. Also, Centaur is dope or whatever. Cool.
Yes, so...